Electricity Minister Newzroom has raised concerns over South Africa's rising electricity prices, warning that it is becoming unsustainable and pushing millions, particularly the poor and rural communities, into energy poverty. This comes as residents of Tembisa took to the streets this week to protest against the escalating cost of electricity. Joining us now for this conversation is Professor Sampson Mamphweli, who is the head of Energy Secretariat at the South African National Energy Development Institute. A very good morning to you, Prof. Thank you so much for making time for us this morning. It's not the first time that the Minister has mentioned this issue around the escalating price of electricity in the country. At some point, I remember even the President saying that many years ago, South Africa's electricity price was actually one of those that was so low that it gave the country an added advantage. But now with the electricity prices increasing, that advantage then falls away. What's your interpretation of what the country is currently facing, and also why are we seeing this escalation in price hikes?
Good morning to you, Adrian, and the viewers. So I agree with both the Minister and the President in this aspect. Our electricity price was very low to attract investment and to support industry so that industry can then produce the much needed jobs for quite a long time. We got to a level where the cost of generation, where the electricity, the tariff was not cost reflective, basically, which means that the tariff that we were paying was less than the cost of generation of electricity. And that was basically because of the cost of maintenance of the coal fleet in the main. The coal fleet was getting aged. And with age, it required more money for maintenance. And then there was that disjuncture between the tariff and the maintenance that is required. So our pricing framework allows for what we call the cost recovery and the minimum allowable profit. That portion that we call the minimum allowable profit is the money that Eskom and any other electricity producer uses to maintain their generation, transmission and distribution systems. So now the Eskom has been trying for quite some time to get to a level where the tariff is cost reflective. In the past, the government used to give Eskom what we call the shareholder equity injection, which is something that many people call bailouts, which was basically bridging the gap between the tariff that was not cost reflective and the money that Eskom needed to run their business and also to maintain their fleet. So what the minister is now focusing on, he is now saying that we've gone through the worst in terms of load shedding. Now he wants to focus on the electricity pricing, and he has requested SANEDI, the entity that I work for, to look into this pricing framework and various other things that can be done to bring the cost of electricity down, and also to extend in terms of energy access, because we still have about 4 to 5 million houses that don't have access to electricity.
Yeah. Is there any wiggle room that are low-hanging fruits?
There could be. I've seen I think it was the city of Johannesburg, where they lowered, they removed the fixed charge, or they want to remove the fixed charge, the 126 rands that people pay on a monthly basis, irrespective of whether you have used electricity or not. And that is the money that is used mainly to maintain the transmission and distribution lines, and including your transformers. So the mere fact that someone has got a meter in their house or electricity coming to their house, someone has to pay for that infrastructure. So taking from that, one could say that there are certain things that that people can do. We will be looking closely at the pricing framework as SANEDI, and the minister will make an announcement in terms of what are the areas that we'll be looking at, and what structures will be in place to try and assist him to deal with this particular matter.
Yeah, and with that as well, then comes the element around infrastructure. And I understand with the city of Johannesburg as well as the city of Ekurhuleni is having to take that difficult decision that says that in the interest of residents who are saying that we can't afford, let's suspend in the meantime. But that suspension also means a loss of revenue for the metros that need to actually maintain that infrastructure.
That is very correct. So they need to go back to their councils and look at the revised budget because somebody has to pay for that fixed charge, and it was already worked into their budgets. So they need to go to revise their budgets and then take the money from some of the services that the municipalities need to render to their communities, and then redirect it to cover for that 126 rand fixed charge per month for the poor. It is a good one of the good steps that they've taken, but somehow it affects their balance sheet or their budget going forward.
Okay, then let's speak about Kusile as well as Medupi power stations. 18 years later and nearly 400 billion, we are told, that has been spent on these two power stations. Have we gotten value for money? And aren't we now faced with a situation where we are actually asking of consumers to pay for those mistakes?
So it's true that there were issues at Medupi and Kusile. Design flaws and some emission abatement technologies issues here and there that led to what you've just alluded to. So the country had to make a decision whether to do away with those projects and then just sign off that particular debt, or to provide money to continue with the projects, because those are our latest or new kind of fleet in the coal side of things that we require to provide things such as your grid strength and ancillary services over and above the electricity or the energy that is coming from those two power stations. So if you look at the fact that the government provided the shareholder equity injections, or what people call the breakdown, the bailouts, to try and deal with the costs of Medupi and Kusile, that cost was basically absorbed in the main by government through National Treasury. However, even if we are to look at the benefits, the cost benefits analysis, in a long-term basis, those two power stations will be the last ones standing when we decommission the coal fleet, and they will provide us with the energy and grid strength and other ancillary services going forward. So we will see value for money on the two power stations in a long term. Their lifespan is quite long. They will live for more than 40 years, and they could be extended to live to about 60 years. So we will see value for money, irrespective of the fact that we had the unfortunate situation where we had cost escalations and the time frames going up to where we are now.
Yeah, perhaps maybe value for money deferred. Because we would love to have seen the value for money right now. The other issue is with the IPPs as well. And the reason that I'm bringing also these historic decisions up is that at the end of the day, the historic decisions that have been taken has an impact on how we're experiencing South Africa currently, and also the quality of life, essentially, and the ability to attract investment. The IPPs, when that was introduced as well, there was an issue around how much government was paying per unit of electricity, which was way above what the generation cost for Eskom was at the time.
Yeah, so with the IPPs, it's an interesting story because when South Africa started introducing the Renewable Energy Independent Power Producers Program that brought in the IPP or the private sector, the sector was not yet developed in South Africa. The renewable energy sector was not yet developed in South Africa. part of the reasons was that we needed to do industrialization and technology localization, and also have what we call the learnings from the program, and we had to pay what we call premium. And what happened was that that premium that we had to pay was worked into the general ESCOM tariffs. So basically, the lower tariffs that we were getting from the coal fleet subsidized, so to speak, to use the layman's term, the price of renewable energy. What that did was that over a period of time, it led to the sector being established in the country, and then we started seeing the renewable energy prices going down. So now, part of what we could benefit from, without preempting the work that SANEDI is going to be doing, part of what we could be benefiting from is kind of a similar working of the new low tariffs from the renewables into the general tariff that can then subsidize the higher cost of generation of electricity from the aging coal fleet. So it could reverse, and we could get a lot of benefits from renewable energy going forward. But I don't want to preempt the work that SANEDI is supposed to be doing in that respect as well.
Yeah, and we'll be looking out for that. Thank you so much for making time for us this morning. Professor Sampson Mamphweli, who is the head of the Energy Secretariat at the South African National Energy Development Institute.